Hey, what's going on guys? Switch TV here. Today I'm going to be doing a complete class guide where we're going to break down all 4 classes in Dreadmyst. If you're looking for info on a specific class, I've added timestamps so you can just jump straight to it. For each class, I'll be showing you stat allocation, which spells you should be leveling, and most importantly, what you should be prioritizing at each stage of the game. The stats I'll be talking about are actually going to be the stats you will be manually allocating, not your total stats from gear. I want to start out by saying that you don't have to follow these builds to a T. You can play around. Part of the beauty of this game is the freedom to make your own choices, and it actually allows for a lot of skill expression. So with that being said, there are going to be a couple skills that every single class is going to need, so instead of repeating it, you're going to want Bartering and Lockpicking maxed out before you hit endgame. Bartering, when maxed out, allows you to save 15% at vendors, and you also sell things for 15% more. There's various chests around the map requiring various levels of lockpicking skills. You will need to have 100 lockpicking to be able to loot dungeons, so I would recommend just leveling these as you go. Let's get into it. The first class I want to talk about is Ranger. This is my main class and the one I have the most time played on, so I'll be going into this one a bit more in detail. Early game priorities, you want to be focusing on survivability and consistency with good uptime. You want to bring both your health and mana up to around 600 first. This gives you enough room to make mistakes while learning fights without feeling constantly starved for mana. Playing Ranger teaches you real life skills like financial planning for mana. No, seriously, Rangers don't cast spells, we budget them. Once that's done, your main priority early game is range critical rating. Start dumping points into crit and work your way up towards 750 critical rating as efficiently as possible. Crit is much harder to get on gear compared to agility, so it's something you want to invest into early. Once you're into mid game, this is where your build starts to take shape. You can begin allocating points into your core attributes, get agility to around 70, strength to 30, courage to 30, and at the same time you should be leveling your ranger abilities to rank 5. Aim shot, flame arrow, explosive arrow, and arrow flurry, these are your main DPS abilities. And during this phase, continue pushing your range critical rating up to around 850. After that, round out your resources by bringing health to 1000 and mana to 852. This gives you a very solid baseline for both PvE and PvP. In the endgame, you're finishing and refining the build. First, cap out your range critical rating, then finish leveling all remaining skills to rank 5. Defensively, you'll want to start investing into dodge, frost resistance, and fire resistance. And from there, finish rounding out your attributes, get your agility to 150, courage to 70, and if you have any points left over, put it into willpower and intelligence, maybe around 39 to 40. This is specifically for the Fortitude buff, which provides damage reduction. It scales off of your total base attributes, so even small investments here add real value late game. Next up, we've got Spell Paladin. This version of Paladin leans more into auras, survivability, and spell-based pressure, while still being tanky enough to frontline in both PvE and PvP. I'll break this down the same way, early, mid, and late game, so you guys know exactly what to prioritize as you level. I got this build from Speedy S60R, which is one of my buddies, so shout out to him. Early game, your main goal is to stay alive while your kit comes online. Start bringing your health up to around 500 and your mana to about 200. Put points into agility, but only as needed for armor requirements. Bring strength up to around 20, and then lock in melee critical at 284. Mid-game, push health to 1000, bring mana up to around 400, and then continue putting points into agility only as needed for armor requirements. Then focus on strength between 75 and 100, and spell critical to 228. Defensively, you're going to get block to 200, dodged around 150, and at the same time, you should be prioritizing your core spells. Mighty Blow and Aegis of Valor are top priority, Blessing of Champions, Blessing of Defense, Fortification Aura, Divine Protection, Vengeance Aura. These abilities form the backbone of your build and should be leveled consistently through mid-game. For late game, your final stat target should look like this: Health 1000, Mana 400, Strength 135, Agility 100, Willpower 45, Intelligence 57, Courage 115, Regen 6, Meditate 3, Melee Critical 284, Spell Critical 228, Block Rating 250, Dodge Rating 350, Frost Resistance 198, Fire Resistance 226, Shadow Resistance 21, Holy Resistance 44, and for skill wise, you're going to want Sword 46 and Shield 48. You can play around with these numbers and check out the alternatives. Next up is Melee Paladin. This time we're going to be looking at a more crit focused variant. This version leans harder into front loaded melee damage while still keeping the core Paladin survivability and utility intact. It's great if you want to hit harder without giving up too much tankiness. I got this build from my buddy Schwizzy, so shout out to him. Early game looks very similar to other Paladin setups with a few key differences. Start by getting your health to around 600, mana to about 200. Once you have that baseline, work towards 350 melee crit as soon as possible. Put agility only as needed for gear requirements. Bring strength up to about 30. For mid game, you're going to want 1000 health, 400 mana, melee critical rating to 634, strength to 100. Continue using agility only as required for gear. Defensively, you're going to want block rate to around 194, and then at the same time, you want to prioritize leveling your core melee abilities. Mighty Blow 5, Aegis of Valor 5, these are both priorities. Blessing of Champion 5, Blessing of Defense 5, Fortification Aura 5, Divine Protection 5, Vengeance Aura 3. You can also do Vengeance Aura 5, but you may need to play around with your stat distribution to afford it. In the end game, you're finishing and polishing the build. Your final stat target should look like this: health 1298, mana 820, strength 165, agility 65, courage 45, and for combat stats, you're going to want melee critical 634, block rate 194, and for defenses, you want frost resistance 228, fire resistance 228, and swords 52. Another thing that's worthy of mentioning, you need a lot of fire resistance for the endgame bosses, so this goes for both paladin builds. Fire resistance on gear is a really good stat to have. Alright, next up we've got Mage, aka I'd like to delete your health bar from a safe distance, the class. The build I'm about to show you is actually from my buddy Waving Owl, so shout out to him for giving it to me. He's a really good player, and he was ranked number 1 for kills in the first day. An important thing to note is that you only need int and will on your weapons. You don't care about the weapon value, they're basically stat sticks. Early game, you're looking to get your health to 500, mana to 200, intelligence to 30, and will to 20. You also want to level up Chains of Ice to 2 and Ice Shard to 2. Mid-game Mage starts to become pretty scary. By this point, you're going to want 80 intelligence, 50 will, 30 courage, around 300 spell crit, Boon of Clairvoyance 5, Ice Blast 3, Chains of Ice 4, Ice Shards 4, Fireball 5, and Bind Spirit 3. Leveling up Bind Spirit to level 3 is going to allow you to pull multiple mobs and not have to worry about taking a lot of damage. You can permanently CC one of the mobs. This is more important for endgame bosses though, because some dungeons actually require you to pull multiple mob packs, and this allows you to mitigate that damage. Alright, now that we've entered endgame, you're going to want 1160 health, 719 mana, 135 willpower, 160 intelligence, 60 courage. Spell critical you're going to want to have at 701, dodge 249, and resist fire 128. And at this point, you also want to max out the rest of your abilities. That includes magical amplification, Vim of Wisdom, Boom of Clairvoyance, Ignite, Fireball, Ice Blast, Chain of Ice, Ice Shard, Inferno, and Bind Spirit. Last but certainly not least is Cleric, the unspoken hero, the one that doesn't get any recognition but should, the one that the DPS blames when he doesn't use his shield and gets fireballed for all of his HP. You're emotionally fragile and that's okay. We still appreciate you. Early game, you're going to want to allocate 500 health, 500 mana, 50 willpower, and 50 intelligence. Keep distributing equally between willpower and intelligence as you see fit. Moving into mid game, you're going to want to allocate 1000 health, 1080 mana, 150 willpower, and 150 intelligence. Endgame, you're going to want strength at 40, agility 45, courage 75. The way Fortitude works is it takes all of your stats, strength, agility, willpower, intelligence, and courage, and it actually makes you tankier. It gives you more damage reduction. Additionally, you're going to want 250 fire resistance, 250 frost resistance. The frost resistance is optional though, if you feel like you don't need it. Fire resistance is actually better to stack because the endgame bosses, like we touched upon earlier, require a lot of fire resistance. You're also going to want to increase your block to 350, dodge to 347, and shields to 7. For spells, you want to get Desperate Prayer to 5, Shield to 5, Spark of Life to 5, Heal and Greater Heal to 5, Discipline, Satanic Madness, and Inner Strength, and Blessing of Health. The first person who comments correctly the location where the spell paladin build is, I'll pin your comment in the video and I'll personally trade you 10,000 gold. Just be sure to include your in-game name so I know who to trade. Also, if you guys like the video, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. It helps me out a lot and I really appreciate it. Alright guys, that concludes the video. Thanks for watching.